So Tyler Boyer is being snarky on X.com and telling people to go look at the annual financial audit, but the financial audit is missing from last year for 3 of the 4 organizations.
You had a baby in a house when you were 13 years old and we can't find you. By the way, where's the baby buried? I asked that question to her. And she said what happened after she gave birth was they called her mom and they said that she's got to go.
The timing in my life is perfect for this opportunity. I'm at a great point, just career-wise, to be able to take on this type of endeavor. And I feel like I have something very unique to offer this whole experience.
Recently leaked banking records are now being linked directly to Erika Kirk, showing a financial path that appears to pass through TPUSA and continue toward what is described as a Romanian orphanage. After reviewing the material that has surfaced so far, many observers say the figures simply do not add up. The documents appear to show organized transfers, repeated use of donation funds, and internal accounts that were never meant to be seen by the public. Now that this information is out in the open, the overall picture looks deeply troubling. For several months, Erika's Romanian Angels orphanage has already been facing heavy criticism because of alleged connections to trafficking networks. What makes the situation even more confusing is that only weeks after Charlie passed away, Erika introduced a brand new orphanage under Charlie's name, even though questions were still swirling around the earlier one. That decision is where many people say the story begins to stop making logical sense. According to what these documents seem to suggest, the orphanage may not be operating only as a charity, but possibly as a financial channel used to quietly move money in ways that are difficult to trace. What stands out most is how messy and unclear the trail becomes once the funds move outside the United States. The path of the money reportedly becomes harder to follow, raising even more questions about where it is actually going and who is receiving it.
One person in conservative America is suddenly sitting on a massive fortune. Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, is now controlling a $100 million right-wing empire. And the numbers? They are insane.
People point to the moment Erika introduced what was presented as an emotional passion project as the turning point in this story. She announced a new orphanage created in Charlie's honor. Then, in December 2025, a story began circulating online claiming that Erika was behind an enormous $175 million project. A boarding school in Chicago called the Kirk Academy of Hope. The school was described as a place meant for homeless children and orphans, with the entire project tied directly to preserving Charlie's memory. However, almost as quickly as the story gained attention, Erika's team contacted media outlets and described the entire report as false information. They minimized the funding claims, reduced the scale of the project, and rejected the way the story had been presented. Instead of calming public concern, this response made many people look at the situation even more closely. This is because critics say a pattern keeps repeating itself. A dramatic story appears, Erika's name trends online, then the story is labeled misinformation, followed by claims that she is being unfairly targeted. While the public debates what is true and what is not, the deeper issues behind the scenes receive very little attention. Even while arguments continued about whether the orphanage story was real or exaggerated, Erika's connections to wealthy donors, international partners, and offshore charity structures remained in place. According to some insiders, the orphanage announcement itself may not have been the main issue. Instead, they believe it acted as an emotional distraction that kept people focused away from larger questions: who Erika is truly working with, who benefits from these charitable projects, and why her efforts seem to revolve around the same powerful networks. Erika's background also adds another layer to this discussion. She did not come from nowhere. She was raised around influential circles, with her parents, Lori France and Kent France, working in energy consulting connected to agencies such as the FBI and the D. For many observers, this background makes the rumors about cover operations and hidden networks seem more believable. Then there is the widely discussed CIA video. Erika's team has said that the video shows her acting, but the footage itself, which has been viewed millions of times on TikTok, appears to show her inside what looks like a CIA briefing related to attacks and weaknesses in the United States power grid. This video has become a major point of debate for those trying to understand how she might have access to certain high-level environments.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis, they hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
That clip landed completely sideways compared to the image Erika has spent years selling, and people felt that disconnect immediately.
The video felt completely out of place compared to the public image Erika has built over the years. donors. Many people immediately noticed the contrast. Rumors that once sounded like wild internet speculation about CIATIs and honeypot operations began to seem less far-fetched to some viewers. Another connection that continues to be discussed is Erika's link to Donald Trump, which did not begin in politics but in the Miss America pageant world. For decades, there have been quiet claims that the pageant circuit acts as a networking space where young women, wealthy donors, and political figures interact with little public attention. Erika's presence in that world and her proximity to Trump are often described as coincidence or personal ambition. However, critics argue that this connection could be an important link between her and the elite groups. She is now accused of assisting through charitable fronts such as the orphanage. When people step back and look at the timeline, they say it becomes harder to view the orphanage controversy as simply bad timing or a public relations issue. Instead, they begin asking what those connections may have been supporting financially. This leads back again to Erika's Romanian Angels orphanage. Several individuals who claim to have inside knowledge have reported that children associated with the orphanage were allegedly sent to families across Europe and parts of Asia without proper documentation. One of the most alarming claims is that some of these children were not orphans at all. They were reportedly children whose parents were going through difficult periods and believed they were placing their children somewhere temporarily safe.
So Tyler Boyer is being snarky on X.com and telling people to go look at the annual financial audit, but the financial audit is missing from last year for 3 of the 4 organizations. This strange decision to hide their financial statements happened 4 months before Charlie Kirk was murdered. I will repeat for clarity. Someone at Turning Point decided not to file 3 of the 4 of their annual financial statements 4 months before Charlie Kirk appointed a new COO, requested a new audit, and was murdered.
To many outside observers, this did not feel like a coincidence. It appeared to be a shift in control that matched the period when financial tracking became more complicated. This is why many people argue that the orphanage situation is not an isolated event or a single mistake. Just when it seemed that public pressure might lead to clear answers, Erika was seen once again in familiar settings. She was recently spotted in Washington, moving among senior government officials, major donors, and political figures. For some, this raised serious concern. From their point of view, it did not look like someone stepping back from controversy. Instead, it looked like someone reinforcing their connections to powerful circles. Critics say this fits a pattern they believe Erika has followed for years, staying close to influence while presenting a charitable image that few people feel comfortable questioning. They argue that layered organizations, international operations, and emotionally sensitive causes could, if the allegations were true, allow money to be moved in ways that leave little trace. All of this leads to a larger question that many people are now asking. It is not whether Erika still has influence, because she clearly appears to. The question being raised is whether grief, charity work, and political involvement have been used as protective layers while she positioned herself as a financial middle figure for individuals who needed their money to move quietly and without attention.